All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash, the honest the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to your sincere Akim out there pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. Hey, I know the subject is coming up on the chip, it's coming up on the end, it's coming up on the persecution. Scriptures talk about, Esau coming down, like a lion, basically coming down to persecute the saints, and all of these things that tie in together. They're all part of the end of Esau and his kingdom. All right, and that's why you see so much evidence of it, and this interview is just another example of it, because we know, they used Alex Jones as the example because of some of the shit that he said, was just completely off the wall. So of course they use him for an example. Now, he says a lot. It's a damn near 5-hour interview of him talking, because he was kind of thirsty to get, back in the swing of things. But this particular clip, where he talks about how they persecuted him, it sounded, like nothing but the truth.
People do that. What does that mean, chargebacks?
The point is, we have the best credit commission.
Okay.
A group out of Boston, which I'm going to mention here for your show and things, but we're preparing litigation against, who does the ratings. It's a secret rating system for like Taliban, Al Qaeda, the mafia, that's given to bank executives. 2 days before PayPal banned us, they put a hate designation from the Southern Poverty Law Center saying I'm basically a terrorist. So when they call you a hate person now, it means a terrorist in Interpol. So all over the Western world, I am listed, and we've been sent documents out of England and out of the U.S. that we were sent this by high-level banking people that are freaked out. We made contacts, lawyers checked it, they can't believe it. They have designated me as an international terrorist, and that's how they took 5 of my 6 bank accounts and got me down to 1 bank account with perfect credit, saying you cannot take money on your shopping cart at InfoWarsStore.com for your products, t-shirts, books, whatever. You aren't allowed to be in commerce because you are a terrorist.
And what do they use to define terrorist?
H. It's classified symbols, and we got some of the documents.
H is hate.
H is hate, and then just
So they just decide arbitrarily that you're a hateful person, that you promote hate.
No judge, no jury. It's the global Chinese social score. That's what they're all testing for here.
Well, this is what we were talking about that's very important. This is actually dangerous. This is actually dangerous to give people the ability to define people without any strict, rigid qualifications, without anything that you can point to on paper.
If I was a convicted murderer and got out of prison, I could start an online store and sell t-shirts.
Right.
If I was Charlie Manson, he had like 4 TV specials on CBS on 60 Minutes. When I was a kid, I watched Charlie Manson.
I don't think he was allowed to get paid for those, though. I think that was part of the thing because he's involved in murder.
Well, sure, they have laws on that, but the point is he would do all over her shows. The point is, Hitler based.
And so, of course, he's going to ramble on, but, hey, of course, we can see this is why, he's trying to, this man Esau, he's trying to establish basically, brothers could say the New World Order, brothers could say a social credit score, like he just mentioned, that they're testing in China. Google is testing in China the Chinese social credit system, where at any time if they feel like you're not doing certain things, or you're doing certain things they don't want you to do, and you have that chip in you, they can cut that chip off. They can they can stop you. All right, because that's the answer that they're coming up with, because you got these mass shootings, you got all of these so-called terrorists and hate groups in America, even though America came and slaughtered millions of people and enslaved other millions of people for hundreds of years, which was, is not the definition of a hate group right there. But if you speak up against it, now you're considered hateful. So, all of this, there's these hypocritical things, and Salakia, that's another reason that they're going to establish Revelation 13 and 16. That you can't buy or sell. Basically they want to control all money. They want to control, how you spend money. They want to control, the platforms that you can go. Hey, even now, if you want to, create a store for you to sell things, you have to pay Esau a certain percentage, for it to be online. You have to pay him a certain percentage. You have to follow his guidelines to make money. And that's ultimately why all of these other nations, they want to come here to America, because this is the place where you sell stuff. All right, and this is the place where you sell stuff, because it talks about, when this place is destroyed, what the merchants shall weep. Matter of fact, I can get that. It's Revelation 18 and 11. And these are things that come. It said, "And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore." Right. It's talking about after all these other nations. A matter of fact, Revelation 18 and 9, "The kings of the earth which have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." Yeah, because it's burning up. "Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come." In 1 hour. And that lines up with prophecy. All right? And when you get into prophecy, which Vocab tried to say, what did he say? Foreseeing and foresaying, or whatever, because prophecy goes back to, Latin. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. But anyway, and he can't break down. Basically, he can't break down what it's saying. He can't break down the future, what the future holds. Because all of these things, whatever you want to call it, foreseeing or whatever, forespeaking. All of these things talk about things that are supposed to happen in the end of days. So you have to be able to evaluate and figure out the exact time period of that. All right, then it goes in and talks about the different things being sold. But at this point with John of Patmos, because this is John, the brother of James, right, of Zebedee. This is basically John of Zebedee, aka John of Patmos, John, the Revelator. Hey, Babylon was already taken down. It was already taken down by the Assyrian Empire, and it had not rose up again. So, when you talk about these things, you can clearly see that, this man is setting up a system, because that's ultimately what America is. All right, we have the GDP. I believe we have the highest. One of the highest GDPs in the world. Americans are known as the dumb consumers. Fat, stupid consumers, basically. That's what everybody here is. They're a consumer. They eat. They buy. Hey, what's big here? Amazon. eBay. All these different things where you can buy. That's why everybody likes to come here. These other nations, their countries are fucked up, as you can see on the media. In their country, their people are protesting, so they kind of pursue, education. Then eventually they come here, and then they can, get a tax break. They can open up a gas station. They can open up a motel or something, and they can sell shit to Americans. They can send that money back home. And show pictures and show that they're doing pretty well. All right, and this is all facts, man. This is all of these things that this man is doing behind closed doors, and all the things. Some of the things, Alex Jones, of course, we know is off his rocker, but some of the things he says is correct. He just doesn't have the scriptures to be able to filter everything that he's seeing and understanding. All right, just like they told him they can shut off his credit, a few of his bank accounts. Well, that's true. They control your accounts. If they label you a international terrorist, they can do that, and that's what they did. And that's what that chip is for. So you cannot buy or sell unless you go through this man's system. Because then they can say, well, look, you know, somebody could be a terrorist, they could be a, you know, an active shooter, all of this crazy shit. So now they come up with the system. Esau's the devil. All right, and I just had one more. It said the FBI spends a lot of time spying on black Americans. And not just black people either, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans. Protesters march in the street as lightning flashes in the distance in Ferguson, Missouri, which I was actually here in Ferguson when these protests and shit were going down. I was actually here both times. Both times. It says the FBI has come under intense criticism after a 2017 leak exposed its counterterrorism division had invented a new unfounded domestic terrorism category called Black Identity Extremism, which, you know, these people have been coming after us for years. You know, you had the Atlanta child murders where a lot of Klansmen on their deathbeds, they confessed to killing Jake's children. To this day, you still have a lot of Native American children that are going missing. You know, children at the border, Latino children that go missing. But, you know, when Jake gets any kind of masculinity, any kind of discipline, which, you know, some of it is over the top, but they say what? Black identity extremism. And Jake isn't killing anybody. Since then, legislators have pressured the Bureau's leadership to be more transparent about its investigation of black activists, and a number of civil rights groups have filed public records requests to try to better understand who exactly the FBI is investigating under that designation. They said although the Bureau has released hundreds of pages of documents, it continues to shield the vast majority of these records from public scrutiny. Yeah, so these things are secret. All right, and the scriptures say, "What? Woe unto them that do do things in the dark." I'm paraphrasing. You know, woe unto them. Woe unto that council, you know, that's doing things in the dark, and that's Esau. So, because deep down inside, what is the first, black separatists? Yeah, they understand that we want to separate, and they understand that people, you know, basically Jake is rising up. The tide of the satanic influences that are in our kingdom. Because what do? They endorse, you know, rappers. They endorse all these people who endorse all of these wicked activities. You know, they endorse all of the coons and the sellouts and the, you know, the Roller Martins. I mean, you can. It's no shortage of them. You know, Omarosas, all of these wicked Jakes who they sell out. You know, they kiss Esau's ass, and you know, if you notice, all of them, you know, they shake hands with Esau. A lot of them are those black Greeks. A lot of them are the Masons, or if they're women, you know, they're the Eastern Stars or whatever, which all of that stuff goes back into Satanism. All of that goes back into lower level Luciferianism. All right? And that just shows you once again that this man is the devil. They don't want to release us. They don't want to give us our own nation. They don't want us to have reparations. But, you know, they want us to stay under the thumb of Esau, not be able to think. And if you notice on YouTube, another thing that they're doing is they're cracking down on so-called black, Native American, and Latino. They're cracking down on little news channels, and they're cracking down on the things that we can say. You know, and over time, it's ramping up. you know, on the things that you cannot say. It says, although the FBI has frequently changed its labels and terminology, the surveillance of black Americans has continued. As The Intercept has reported, following the killing of Michael Brown by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri, the FBI began spying on Ferguson activists and tracking their movements across states. And if you know anything about these Ferguson activists, a lot of them ended up dead. A lot of them ended up dead. I think one guy, they found him in his car, and the car was on fire. Another guy, they found him strung up with a noose, like in his mother's, at his mother's house or something crazy. So, hey, this is for real. This ain't for a lot of people that get on YouTube and they, you know, they'll scoff and talk shit. But Esau's government, they're really following this. They're really, you know, taking action against the Israelites. And that's ultimately what this guy, Vocab Valone, he's gonna, you know, we can see him lining himself up as a medium to try to attack, to try to, you know, give a report against the Israelites, give a false report against us. Even though, you know, he does all this slick shit now. When the brothers of Chicago came down to St. Louis, the brothers of Indianapolis and Kansas City and all the other places came down here. Vocab sent, you know, that other guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but he sent another guy here to record us. You know, after the camp was over, he was still trying to stay around and record and do little, you know, weird shit. And then, you know, what does Vocab do? He's popping up on all the camps and, you know, trying to get into arguments, trying to get brothers to be carnal. And, you know, brothers have done a good job in answering him with the scriptures. So he'll kind of play like, yeah, you know, you guys are my friends and it's all good. But when that time comes where Esau comes and he cracks down on all of us, hey, Vocab is going to be a key witness. You know, and that's what Jake is not looking at, man, because when the time comes, and the thing you got to ask it, Jake has to ask themselves, you know, because the Israelites, we accept the truth that Esau is the devil. You know, when the time comes in the courtroom and they have all these charges against you and, you know, they got a jury against you or whatever the case may be, Jake doesn't think about what is Esau going to do. Is he going to ride with you? You know, because a lot of Jakes think this man is riding with us, or is he going to point the finger and come up with some bullshit? Yeah, I always knew that he was, you know, this and that, and that's exactly what Esau would do. The scripture talk about that. As iron rusted, so is your enemy. You know, when things are good, I'm paraphrasing. You know, they'll be right with you, but as soon as things change up, they're gonna be right against you. They're gonna make themselves known. And that's what Esau's doing. So, hey, just a quick one. You know, call hello, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. As you can see, you know, this in the game. This in the joke. You know, this is what the Lord meant when he said, make yourself a living sacrifice, because we put ourselves on the line. We're putting ourselves, you know, in the way. We're putting ourselves in the spotlight. We're declaring, you know, our pedigree, declaring who we are, and this man doesn't like it. All right, and you can read this for yourself. It's the Intercept. It's a pretty good article, but you know, just confirming things that we, you know, brothers have been saying for years. Hey, Lord willing, it's edifying for you. Shalom.